Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Armchair Traveler. Hey, we're coming to you today from the inside of my shop, not that polar vortex thing outside where it's 30 below zero. Anyway, the purpose of the video today is to talk about how I attached my Scala G9 unit to my helmet. I've had a lot of people ask me questions about that, and I thought I'd do a little video, give you a little more in-depth idea of how I did it. So let's take a look at how I did this thing. Okay, so I've had a lot of people ask me, how did you fasten this unit onto the side of your helmet? Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll see that I talk about the fact that one of the problems I had was if I used the unit and installed it as the factory designed, the problem was the communicator hung down, and it hung down about here. And when I turned my head to the right, it was fine. When I tried to turn my head to the left, this thing hanging down caught on my jacket, and I couldn't turn my head to the left, which is not safe. So I had to come up with something different. Now, to clarify this just a little bit more, when you buy a Scala Rider unit, this is what the base unit looks like when it comes out of the box. You've got your boom. It's got a what they call a back plate, and hopefully you can see there's a little, can you see that? Maybe I'll turn it over so it's this way. That probably doesn't help either. But if you see this, this clamp is meant to fit on the inside and the outside of your helmet, and then you just tighten up these screws and that will hold this unit in place. It also has the speakers that are pre-wired permanently to the base unit. Now, what I didn't like about this was, again, by using this clamping system, which didn't work, by the way, on the Shuberth, but we'll get into that in just a second. But that, again, put that unit down low. The other thing I didn't like, which I have other videos you can watch, I didn't like the speakers. I would prefer to have earbuds. And so I had the unit modified so it no longer has the speakers permanently attached. So I can use earbuds. But I took that back plate off, and actually, because the back plate was useless on the Shuberth C3, you have to use what's called a tape back. And the unit comes with this. This is not something you buy extra. It comes with this. Has some double-sided sticky tape, and that sticks on the side of your helmet, kind of like this. I know there's a lot of black, so it's kind of hard to see. But the bottom line was that when I did that, my unit hung down, like I said, and was creating a problem, so I had to modify it. So what I did was I did some searching. So what I did was I did a little bit of searching. I said, okay, how do I fasten this to the helmet? Now, I could have drilled a hole or two, but that would possibly compromise the integrity of the helmet. I didn't want to do that. Then I looked at epoxy, and epoxy's okay, but believe it or not, I've had some cases where epoxy comes loose. Now, that may be my problem, I don't know, but I just didn't have a lot of faith in epoxy. And quite honestly, this tape, while I did try to use it, it was never going to work the way I wanted because it's only designed to hang down below, and it just wasn't working right. So I needed something that was a little stronger. So as I did some thinking, I saw that GoPro uses a product called VHB tape made by 3M, and I figured if it's good enough for GoPro to mount on the outside of race cars and stuff like that, it's probably going to work okay for me. So in my research on the internet, I found some VHB tape, which I purchased this from Grainger. This is 3/4 inch wide. I think it's like 15 feet, or maybe it's 15 yards long. Either way, it's expensive stuff. It's like about 70 bucks, but it works great. And I used my tape back. I modified it slightly. It has a couple wings on it. These wings, one's here and one's here. You probably, I don't know if I move in enough, can you see these little divider lines? Probably not. But basically, if you look at where my fingers are, anything that's covered by my fingers, I took off. And then I just had this center section, and that little piece, it's probably 1.5 inches long of VHB tape is all that's left. But I fastened it on the side of my helmet such that when wearing the helmet, I can still adjust the boom so the boom comes up and just touches my lips, which is what you want your boom to do. And once I figured that spot out, and then I marked a spot on the helmet, and then that's where I used the VHB tape. You put this stuff on, it takes about 24 hours for it to set up. It is sticky when you put it on, don't get me wrong, but there's some type of a chemical reaction that takes place over, I think it's a 24-hour period or whatever, and then this stuff is really, really good. And I mean, you can't get it to come off. It won't come off. I suppose if you took a screwdriver and tried to pry it, maybe you'd get it off. I have no idea, but stuff works great. All right, so I hope that by providing you a little more in-depth view of how I adapted the Scala to my C3, you can take that information and apply that to whatever application you may have. Now, GoPro cameras and stuff, you know, they come with the VHB tape already. It's the Scala Rider specifically for me that created the challenge, and I'm really impressed with how this VHB tape worked, and I'm very happy with this setup. So that's all I got for you this week. If you got any questions, please feel free to drop me an email at gsarider1, that's the number 1, at gmail.com. Leave me a comment below. If you got any ideas of videos you'd like me to do in the future, let me know there too. I said we got this polar vortex thing going on outside right now. It's just terrible. I hate it.